Now, it's no secret that Arsenal have been extremely slow in this transfer window. We first thought it was because of the Euros and the Copa America, but now there is no excuse. We have been slow on the selling and buying departments, and this is the complete opposite of what we had done in the previous summer, being very quick and being very proactive in the window. And in one of Arsenal's most recent YouTube videos, Kieran Tierney was spotted talking to Odegaard and Arteta. Now, I know this was probably an innocent conversation talking about Real Sociedad. It got me thinking, with Arsenal being so slow in the market, no rumors coming out about clubs making a move for Tierney, could Kieran Tierney possibly stay this season? Now, I know this sounds stupid and it sounds unrealistic, but with Arsenal apparently looking to sell Kiwior and even possibly Zinchenko, Nuno Tavares has already left. Even if we do bring in Calafiori, which I don't know if that'll happen anymore, I'm hoping it does. With Arsenal's asking price for Kieran Tierney being just £10 million, is there a world where Arsenal decides to keep Kieran Tierney at least as a backup for this season, or am I just living in Wonderland? But looking at it, should Arsenal look to cut our losses with the 27-year-old Scotsman, or should we keep on to him, hold on to him for at least one more season, and then if we do keep him, well, what position will he play in this team? Well, that's what we'll be talking about today. So what's going on, everyone? You are listening to Gunner Central here. I hope you're all doing well. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Now, it didn't really come as a huge surprise to us Arsenal fans when Kieran Tierney left the club last summer. I mean, it was a surprise that he went only on a loan instead of being sold, and us as Arsenal fans, including me, weren't really happy that he left. Kieran Tierney has been a fan favorite since his arrival, with his defensive aggression, hard-nosed playstyle, and just overall character and love for the club. At one point, all of us Arsenal fans were pretty convinced that he'd be the captain after Aubameyang left. Now, that obviously never happened, and the season before last, Kieran Tierney played just 1,459 minutes after the arrival of Zinchenko, 695 minutes less than the season prior. With a clear shift in Arteta's tactical setup, wanting the left back to invert, which is something that Zinchenko is a master at, or I guess was a master at, I don't really know anymore, and Tierney was more than lackluster as an inverted left back. So last season when he was loaned out to Real Sociedad, he was as good as gone in all of our eyes, and it was thought that he would then arrive back after his loan spell this summer to be instantly sold. But last season, having some good performances at Sociedad, but between all of his hamstring injuries and abductor injuries, seeing him play just 26 games and only starting in 16 out of his 26 in the Basque country, it wasn't really a surprise that Real Sociedad did not want to sign Kieran Tierney on a permanent deal. So here he is now, back at Arsenal. Not many rumors about clubs being interested in him, and him still having 2 years left on his deal at the age of 27, being an injury-prone player that can't play as the inverted left back, and his value, according to Transfermarkt, being the lowest it has been since 2018 when he was with Celtic. What do Arsenal do with him? Do Arsenal just sell him for any offer they can get, or do we maybe look to keep him this season, see if we can get some minutes out of him, and if it doesn't work out this time next year, he will still have a year left on his deal, and we can then sell him for whatever we can get. Well, though I am biased, because I love Tierney so much, I actually think keeping Kieran Tierney would be a good option, and let me explain why. Last season, Zinchenko went through his horrible patch of form and had that calf injury that kept him out for 4 months. Plus, at the time, Tomiyasu was injured, so we had Kiwior to play at left back. And although Kiwior had some very impressive defensive performances at times, he did get cooked against Fulham and Bayern, and I mean, Sane just ripped him apart. And since then, he barely ever got game time again at left back. Kiwior is a solid centre back that can play left back in an emergency, but in my eyes, that's pretty much all he is. At the age of 24, I see why Arsenal would like to sell Kiwior this summer. Now, if we don't sell Kiwior and Zinchenko, well then we would have to obviously sell Tierney. There just aren't enough minutes to go around. But if we at least sell one of Kiwior or Zinchenko, then I could get behind the idea of keeping Kieran Tierney. Now, in all honesty, selling Tierney would be the best option, especially if we get in Ricardo Calafiori, but I wouldn't be opposed to keeping Kieran Tierney neither. We proved last season that the inverted fullback can certainly come from our right back, with some of Ben White's best games coming as an inverted right back, and if that's the case, well then Tierney is certainly a viable option at left back. And with Timber being able to play all through the back line, plus Calafiori being able to play as a left back and a left centre back, Tierney, who like Calafiori can play at left back, left centre back, left wing back, could still be a fairly valuable option to have. Now, I know we also have Tomiyasu, but with both Tomiyasu and Tierney being injury prone, it won't really harm the squad too much to keep them both in the squad as some very good depth options. If we want to go deep in all 4 competitions, we are going to need a deep squad with a lot of quality. And Tierney certainly has quality, and he will provide good depth to the left side of the back four, be it as a centre back or a left back, preferably obviously a left back. And like I said, even if we do bring in Jakub Kiwior and having the likes of Tierney, Timber, Kiwior and Tomiyasu all able to play left back and left centre back, well, that's going to be great depth and quality depth at that. Now, Zinchenko and Kiwior will both need to be sold for it to be worth keeping Kieran Tierney, but Kiwior certainly has a market, especially in Italy, with a lot of Italian clubs liking him, and I suspect that we could probably get more from selling Zinchenko than we could get from selling Kieran Tierney. Zinchenko is a great player on the ball, but is a liability on defense, whereas players like Timber and Kiwior are also just as good on the ball as Zinchenko, but are much better in the defensive department than Zinchenko is. So if we sell Zinchenko, we won't be missing out on a profile we don't already have in the squad. I guess you could say the same for Kieran Tierney. I just suspect we could get much more from Zinchenko in the transfer market than we could get from Kieran Tierney. Now, yes, Tierney is injury prone, but with him playing as a backup role, I doubt that he'll really get enough minutes to be getting injured, and if he is injured, we won't be missing out significantly on a player. I believe though that Kieran Tierney overall will be more useful for the squad that we have right now than Zinchenko would. And I know people are saying right now, well, I don't think Tierney will want to be a backup. That is true, but I don't think there are many clubs in Europe that he'll become an instant starter for that is a trophy winning team. I just don't think that will happen, and I think he is a consummate professional, and if he is to play the backup role, I don't think he's going to mind all that much, at least in the first season. Also, let's just say that we do keep Kieran Tierney and he doesn't work out, has some horrible performances, is injured the whole time. Well, then next summer, when he has 1 year left on his contract, we can sell him for any offer that we get. There's no harm done. Right now, I doubt anyone wants to pay near £10 million for him, which is Arsenal's asking price. And if he doesn't work out next summer, well, then it'll be the same. No one will want to pay £10 million for him, and we just have to sell him for what we can get. But, and this may be a huge but if he does maybe work out for us, play some very good minutes for us, but he still doesn't want to extend his contract with him having 1 year left at the end of this season, well, then we could just sell him in the window, and I'm assuming that someone would be more willing to pay that £10 million asking price. So I don't see a reason to sell him right now. He has 2 years left on his deal. He could play some good backup minutes, and unless someone comes with a £10 million offer for him this summer, why would you want to sell Kieran Tierney? Now listen, I do understand if we do end up selling him this summer, but I really don't think there's harm in keeping Kieran Tierney at least for the summer and allowing him some rotational minutes to be able to rest players and add more quality depth to this team. I just don't see what will harm the team by doing that.